Hello! The second season of Wednesday, the Netflix hit from 2022, is almost upon us. What do we know about the second season, and what questions were left unanswered from season 1? Well, let's start where we left. By the end of season 1, Nevermore Academy had survived the attack of a Frankenstein pilgrim called Joseph Crackstone, orchestrated by a normie fanatic posing as a teacher, who had recruited a teenager that could turn into a monster called a Hyde, which terrorized local town Jericho and its environs. The resurrected Crackstone was killed by Wednesday, and I think it's fair to say that he won't be brought back to life a third time. However, the fate of the teacher, whom we knew as Marilyn Thornhill but was actually Laurel Gates, is unclear. If you remember, she was the little sister of Gareth, the guy that Wednesday's parents thought they had accidentally killed back in the 1990s, but who actually had died from an accidental nightshade poisoning during his altercation with them. His family descended from Crackstone, and his dad had brainwashed his children against outcasts. Last we saw Laurel, she was getting kicked in the face by Wednesday after being attacked by Eugene's bees. But we got no confirmation of her death. She could still be around, plotting in the cell of a prison, recuperating from third-degree bee stings. Having said that, there is only evidence that Christina Ricci will be in the first episode of season 2, so maybe this storyline will be kept on the back burner. Another storyline that required further answers was that of Xavier Thorpe, tortured artist who had psychic dreams of the monster and who was briefly framed by Laurel Gates as being the monster. Now, he had a backstory with Wednesday from before the show. They had briefly met when they were kids, and even their grandmothers used to hang out together in the past. He also had a famous psychic father, of whom Pugsley, Wednesday's younger brother, was a fan. And finally, his relationship with the late Dr. Kimbot was interesting to say the least, as she once dropped everything just because he called her. And Wednesday was suspicious of the doctor because she was too accomplished to be stuck in Jericho. Maybe she was a long-lost biological mother of Xavier. Alas, the storyline is also likely to be dropped, as it was confirmed that the actor that played Xavier will not return for season 2. Alright, so we have nothing. Thank you for watching. No, there are some plot lines that will definitely continue in season 2 that we can talk about. There's of course Tyler and his dad. Both actors have been confirmed for season 2, so I'm not taking you down another dead end. Surely you remember that Tyler was revealed to be the monster that terrorized everyone in Jericho and Nevermore. But he was also just a teenager brainwashed by Laurel Gates. And also, he's so dreamy. So maybe there are some redeeming qualities in him. Maybe not. He was last seen chained at the back of an armored vehicle about to hide out. In season 2, he will be in the Willow Hill Psychiatric Facility. According to actor Hunter Doohan, Tyler is spending his time scheming and plotting and trying to figure out if he will have a chance to escape. He will be monitored in the psychiatric facility by Dr. Rachel Fairburn, portrayed by Thandie Wynn Newton, who is apparently a trailblazer in the field of outcast mental health. Wednesday will be visiting the psychiatric facility. I'm guessing that would be in order to investigate her theory from the end of season 1 about whether Tyler and Laurel were just pawns in a bigger game. Which is a good setup for season 2, methinks. But then again, let's not forget, Wednesday was a terrible detective. Meanwhile, Tyler's dad, the grumpy sheriff, will have stepped down from his position. I mean, failing to realize that your kid was the monster that killed several people during your watch surely is grounds for dismissal. He will be replaced by a familiar face, his former deputy, Richie Santiago. Enough with Jericho, though. What will happen with Nevermore? If you remember, we had a couple of vacancies at the end of the season. In addition to Professor Thornhill, we also lost, sadly, Principal Wims, who was murdered by Professor Thornhill. I'm really going to miss Wims. She really had her students' best interest in mind, even the ones who annoyed her like Wednesday. Wims' replacement is Principal Barry Dort, played by Steve Buscemi. Based on his promotional video for Nevermore Academy, his outcast ability is fire. We see him replace Wim's portraits with his own, which is understandable, I guess, as he's the new principal. But then he goes on to badmouth Wims, which firmly puts him in my watch list for the baddies of the new season. He's very pro-outcast pride, which is great, I guess, but his whole demeanor makes me suspicious. Or maybe they want us to think that he's one of the baddies, much like they did with Wims. We shall see. Next, we get a new music teacher that will be played by Billy Piper, who will take interest in Wednesday's musicality and will mentor in it. As a new adult introduced, she's also of course a suspect for the season's baddie. She's unlikely to be a Time Lord. And then we get another legacy return, in Christopher Lloyd joining the cast. Christopher Lloyd was Uncle Fester in the old Addams Family films of the 90s. Well, the two good ones. At the moment, he's only credited for one episode, and it remains to be seen how big his role will be. According to the released information, he will play Nevermore's longest-serving teacher, a disciplinarian with whom Pugsley will get into trouble. One other potential thread for drama to come to Nevermore is the Morning Song storyline, with Bianca and her mum. From what we learned in Season 1, Bianca's mum was the partner of a cult leader. The cult appears to have long tentacles, reaching out even to the normie population of Jericho, and to also have some modern expressions. Cults are always fertile ground for conflict. Bianca did play a role in the final showdown with Crackstone, so maybe we'll see a bit more of her in the central stage. Moving on to what appears to be the biggest change from Season 1, it looks like the whole Addams family will feature more prominently. For starters, Pugsley is enrolling at Nevermore Academy. He was a bit of an outsider in his normie school, and it is unclear if he will be less of an outsider in Nevermore. And there are some brief exchanges with Eugene in the trailer, the most obvious candidate for a friend, who will also be his roommate, but it doesn't seem very promising. It also appears that the whole family will move to be near the school and set up shop in what used to be Laurel Gates, aka Professor Thornhill's, old accommodation. It has been hinted in the first season that the Addamses have strong links to the school. If nothing else, their ancestor, Goody Addams, was a powerful witch that lived in the area, and they are a legacy outcast family. The only reason why Wednesday wasn't going to the school was that she didn't want to follow in the footsteps of her mother, which is not going to work for Season 2, as Morticia will be working in a philanthropic position at Nevermore. Don't ask me what that means, but Wednesday is not gonna be happy to have them, even if it leads to cool sword fights between Jenna Ortega and Catherine Zeta-Jones. We also see the introduction of Grandmama, played by Joanna Lumley, another family member who can elicit a smile from Wednesday, who is, according to the info released, the owner of Frump Mortuaries, a business empire. Her name is Hester, she looks pretty cool, and is a big and welcome, I think, change from the portrayal of Grandmama in the old TV show and films. Lumley has a good track record of being a thorny grandmother figure, as he has been delightfully outrageous in BBC's Motherland and its spin-off Amandaland. We also know that Uncle Fester will pay a visit, although again we don't know for how long he'll be around. He's getting his own spin-off too. And her ladyship Kaga will be in the new season in the second half as Rosalind Rotwood, Professor, and I feel she would be right at home at Nevermore. Alright, what has been going on with our little rain cloud? She spent her summer holidays honing her psychic abilities and was able to track down and take care of a serial killer portrayed by Haley Joel Osment, and I think it's safe to say that if they would be willing to release this ahead of the season, it will be a pretty self-contained story, and it won't be a storyline that we will see beyond those first 6 minutes. There are, however, two takeaways. First, that Wednesday is not as in control of her abilities as she claims to be. Firstly, she gets an uncontrolled vision as a serial killer touches her at a very inopportune moment, which results to her capture. Second is, of course, those black tears that we have seen in the promotional material. Wednesday dismisses it as a psychic glitch, but then we get some further insight from the latest official trailer. It signifies, it seems, that one of Wednesday's visions means that someone she cares about will die, and that it will be her fault. And it looks like her mother has experienced this in the past. Anchoring present storylines in the family's past, as was done in Season 1 with the Gateses, is definitely a good way of adding gravitas to the show. It's too early to tell who the main antagonist will be. The new series has been designed to be more episodic, a horror mystery of the week kind of thing, but we do get in the trailer a few shots of the potential horror/villainy. In addition to the Tyler hide, we get something digging out of a grave, as well as a creepy doll figure. And let's not forget, at the end of Season 1, somebody was watching Wednesday, and it seems they are still watching. The first 4 episodes of the season will be released on the 6th of August. Let's see what the show has in store for us. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking or subscribing. As always, thanks for watching.